What is the weirdest thing to break you out of your prayer?
Someone naked.
A fart.
Mario theme.
Man, I was very excited to do this podcast. That answer just went so many different directions. No, let's not get into that. Well, let's get into it.
Did you say Mario theme?
I said Mario.
Mario
Like
theme.
the like dun 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 dun.
Has that happened before?
So yes, for real. So we were a bunch of us brothers were at one of our houses doing a prayer, right? And this one dude had the Mario theme, like the OG Mario theme on his phone, right? So, we're on the last rakat and, I think we just finished Surah Al-Fatiha and then all of a sudden you hear dun 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 and then he's like quickly scrambling to like silence his phone, right? Phone? And then we're all just like we're holding in it for like the rest of the rakat, right? And then finally when we're done, we're all just bursting out, rolling on the floor, laughing. Like how does anyone like imagine if that went off at the masjid, like in the middle of the Jummah prayer?
I thought that's just how your brain works, where it's just like you see the little pixel Mario, and it's like 2 rakats done.
One up.
That's one way to think of it.
What was your thing?
I said someone naked.
You think about someone naked while you're praying?
Somebody actually naked was in front of you and you...
Yeah.
What?
So back in like middle school or whatever, my friend and I, we were like, hang out with other friends, whatever, while we were fasting or whatever. And then like we were at my friend's house and we're like, hold on, we got to pray. And like they didn't know what prayer was. They didn't know what we were doing. So they saw us, we were praying. And this dude pulls down his pants in front of us. And we hear a little kid, it was like his nephew or something. And he goes, ew! And we're like, I pray with my eyes closed. So like I was praying throughout the whole time. Gladly, I didn't see anything. But they told us after.
Did he do it on purpose?
He did it on purpose. Well, he knew we were doing something spiritual, but like he didn't know what we were doing. So he was just like messing around or whatever.
Oh, like he didn't think that you guys were like that serious.
Yeah, like, and he didn't know, obviously don't be in front of them. So he was in front of us, literally pulled down his pants, and you hear his nephew go like, ew.
That's messed up.
Like,
that whole scene without any context is just a whole lot of nope.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure like if I saw it, I would have to break my prayer. Obviously, like I'm like, yo, I can't pray in front of this. What the heck? But
yeah. I mean, those like cheeks clapping right in front of you, like that's not cool.
Bruh.
Yeah, I think I said fart because...
Oh, that's a bad one.
Because especially, okay, so here's
yours or somebody else's?
No, not me.
Somebody else's.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if I do it, then I'm gonna like have to go and perform wudu again and stuff. And like, but that's never happened to me though.
Someone in the mosque, I'm pretty sure like this happened to one of my friends. Like he just farted and kept going, and like
yeah, well, that's what happens because, especially after we open our fast, right? We are already like a lot of people will eat really fried foods and like really bad food, and then you show up to pray at the mosque, and you got uncles like dealing with all types of
gases,
digestive issues, right? They're burping, going, and I'm like, I know that they're blasting from the back too. Like that's just what happens. And so there's been many times where people are like ripping straight up and just keep going. But sometimes you'll hear it and it'll be like a little, that they're trying to like clench their cheeks, but it lets out a little like, it's like, and then you just start laughing because it's like, bro, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're going to do that right now and like keep a straight face?
Is it the silent and deadly ones?
So there was an uncle that we used to call the silent killer because he was consistently, it was the same, like if you sat next to him or prayed next to him, you knew that you were getting gassed on and he was going to keep going.
And he still prays like,
and he after with a straight face, and he has a mustache, and it's just like it's just like he has the look that would be a silent killer.
Yeah.
And I think maybe also he doesn't know.
Oh, he doesn't know. He's
like maybe he's
gassing.
too old.
Okay.
And he's just like, and he doesn't hear it.
And this is he's not leading, right? Like he's part of the congregation.
He's not leading. He's just vibing. He's straight up vibing.
It could be worse. It could be someone who just lets one rip like in the middle of leading salah at the masjid, and then they just suddenly stop and then walk without talking to anybody. Everyone is wondering, what do we do?
Yeah.
Last 10 days.
Let's
get it.
Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning into an episode of Strange Flavors. My name is Shamir.
I'm for us.
And I'm Isan.
Finally, the
I'm
intro.
finally just like, yeah.
Finally, the
I'm
intro.
part of the crew.
As you see, Shamir has hogged Amber's mic today because Amber is not here with us. She is actually in the room right next door.
I can actually still smell the Rosa breath from last episode.
From the mic?
Bruh.
Yeah, from the mic. So
That's nasty.
Yeah,
You
it's
might have
nasty.
knocked out. But yeah, Amber is recovering from getting her tonsils removed. So we're wishing her a speedy recovery.
yeah, we wanted her to be on the podcast, but I guess she's too
You can
tired.
probably hear us. Amber, have a speedy recovery.
Well, she can't talk. Otherwise she
She
would've
can't
made it,
talk, yeah.
So
She probably just,
she talks like this.
yeah.
So
She actually just texted, like, are we
Sounds like a
recording?
zombie.
She just texted us.
Oh,
I
she
said,
did?
yeah. I texted back, don't worry.
Well, this is the strangest and greatest podcast in the game. This is brought to you by Alif Theory. You can email us or send us your music at strangeflavorspodcast@gmail.com. You can see our beautiful faces on YouTube, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Speaking of YouTube, we have some wonderful comments from you guys.
Yeah, I want to read the from the last episode and the one before that because you guys leave some awesome comments on YouTube. So
Yeah, and you guys are killing it. Also, did we announce this? We started getting ads on our YouTube.
yeah,
We're now monetized.
on our main channel we're monetized. So we really appreciate all your guys' support for getting us to that point.
Yeah.
If you didn't know by now, we do have a Strange Flavors Clips channel. So we would love your support on that as well. That's where all the shorter clips are posted. If you don't have time to watch the full episode and you just want the highlights, it's going to be on the Clips channel. So please subscribe to that either way and
Yeah.
turn on the notifications if you want to see that.
Facts.
So the last episode, you guys actually really liked it a lot. Sometimes we do more spiritual episodes, more, what's it called? Food for thought style episodes where we're not just messing around, but really awesome comments on the last one about Alman Nusrat. One of them was, this was a very soul satisfying episode. Thank you to Alman for sharing his experience. Another one says, an incredible episode filled with so many gems. Bless Alman for coming on and talking about his journey. So that's awesome. And another funny one that came from the episode before that was, Amber's socks are iconic. And you know that on this episode, the socks are always iconic. So it's not, if we could get the foot cam again,
Oh my God.
we got the Earth Kingdom socks this time. Last time we had the it's on.
There is no foot cam.
You see that?
It's little. I don't care to see.
Wait,
okay,
it's
I
on
see
though.
it.
This relates to the intro question. I got some Nintendo socks going on right
Oh,
now.
true.
hey.
Mario.
Can you play on them?
That's what I'm talking about.
No,
Can you play?
can't. I wouldn't want you
Can
to.
you play on what?
Yes.
I guess that's not a bad
Connected?
question. No, because some people like made clothes like T-shirts with a built-in control where you can like press all over yourself
That's
and play like
weird.
Super
and
Mario
then it
games.
controls the person.
Yeah. No, the person.
No one
what
should.
Are you, what you talking
controls
about?
No
Yeah.
one should walk
Nah.
outside with that shirt on. Like people might be touching that.
Some people just shouldn't walk outside. Like for us.
I shouldn't walk
But
outside.
you're the one with the allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when allergy season's over, it's fine. But
You're
like
calling me a
just,
menace to society.
I mean, yeah.
Amber's in the building, but you
Amber's in the
can't see
building.
her. And she's not going to want to show her face probably.
Yeah.
But she's here in good spirit.
Yeah, she's here in spirit. If you'd also like to be part of this spirit in here, you can support this podcast with a link down below. Be part of Strange Flavors Town. And Strange Flavors Town includes Barber's Bagels, Cassie's Cupcakes, Airhuz Ices, Freehuz Falafels, and Uslam's Apples. And also get that wonderful merch at strangeflavors.store.
We got awesome merch on there. And don't forget, we still have our Ramadan Essentials merch on ronalpono.com. It doesn't have to be Ramadan for you to get it, but you guys have been going crazy on that. So thank you for all the support with the Halal Gap merch, the Intentions Dog merch, and the Gains for God merch. So that's awesome. Last thing is, we've been a 5-star rated podcast since we began this thing.
Yeah, because we're the best. We're the strangest and greatest podcast in the game.
Unfortunately,
Fortunately.
when you're peaking,
Yeah.
sometimes people want to see you fall. And that's what's happening. I love Amber's commentating on the side still.
Wow.
And that's what's happening to us now. We've reached a point where we got shooters on us.
Yeah.
So we went from 5 to 4.9
Come on, bruh.
because we got a troll.
The audacity.
So thank you to the troll who is not named.
Yeah.
Why not
On
name the
March-
troll?
I mean, they're
No, we can't shout them out.
guest 18.
Because then people are
384.
going to be like, oh, this is how I'm going to get my shout out on the podcast. And
Well,
then
I'm saying bring
follow.
it on. I don't care.
I'm just
Do you
saying,
care?
like, well, here's the thing.
Yeah, I don't want a 1-star podcast.
I do. People are gonna be
That
like,
might be
yo,
iconic.
this
Like,
podcast
why is this
must be so bad.
Yeah, that I gotta check it out.
Like, how many haters does this podcast have? This must be
Ooh.
serious.
But this is a problem we got to figure out because we're what 4.9 stars. That's like getting a B+ on an English test.
No, that's like getting an A
And
minus,
Same thing.
but not even an A minus. It's like a A, but not 100%. We were
Yeah.
perfect before,
perfect,
Right.
yeah.
but we're not perfect. It's
We're
symbolic,
flawed.
Hassan.
We're flawed.
I can hear my Korean mother being upset all the way from here.
Shout out Asia.
What if it's Isan's mom?
Yo. Okay, but we do have the rest of them. So I do want to shout out. We're not going to focus on the haters. We got all these other people that left amazing comments and support. This is, by the way, on Apple Podcasts. So if you want to leave us a review,
A 1
and give us
star,
5-star.
5-star, whatever you want.
We're focusing on the 5 stars now, Shamir.
You just said haters. You're okay with the haters?
Well, I'm done with the haters now. I want to talk
Okay.
to other people.
All right.
This was a recent comment we had. This podcast is amazing. The amount of hard work going into this and the amount of laughs I have had are insane. This is weird. Right at the end, it says Shimmer Wally is goated.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I thought this was a random person, but Shamir is leaving comments.
So this guy messaged me, right? And I thought he was Cap. He was like, he started following me through TikTok or whatever. And then he was like, yo, I like the podcast setup and everything. I just left you a review. Can you leave a review on mine? And he sent me a screenshot of this.
review for review.
Yeah. And I was like, when I checked the reviews, I didn't see this review. So I was like, oh, he's capping. And I guess he actually made a review.
Are you going to leave him a review on him? I don't want that type of review though. Like, does he actually like the podcast?
I don't know. I thought he was capping. So
No capping.
no capping.
No capping username was taken at Cheeseballs.
Thank you for the review though. And thank you for the
You can
nice
leave the
comment.
last part out. Shimmer Wally is goated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amber's right. That's follow
Yeah,
for
it
follow.
is.
Amber, I'm going to need you to stop talking. We need your tonsils recovered. All right.
Yeah. So you can come back on this podcast and I don't have to use this mic.
What? All right. She wants to make a comment.
I left for one podcast and Shamir has my mic.
Yeah. And he said it, the Rosa breath on it almost knocked him out.
Yeah.
The disrespect.
Yeah.
Okay. She's
I want
very
my
high
mic
on
back.
oxycodone. So
She's
don't mind her.
faded.
Yo, Amber, what do you want? Let me
Dude,
get that.
Why are you getting faded during Ramadan, bro?
Well, let me get that.
Would you get that? Nah. But for us, I don't want you on anything.
On the
I would just be afraid for my life.
Honestly, me on oxy?
Bro, you're already high off of like life.
Oh,
Like-
thank you.
That's
No, in a
that's
bad
I love
way.
that.
In a bad way.
No, I love that. That's me though. That's me though. I love that.
Yeah, you walk in and like somebody walks in, you're immediately either praising them or roasting them or both.
I love that. Thank you.
That's beautiful. It's not-
Yeah, that's how everybody should be high on life. There's so much to go. Like, there's so much life out there. You know,
Yeah.
like even us right now, like the amount that we know and are just like attached to. No, listen, I'm having a little Ramadan moment right now. At one point, I so badly want to be detached
Like just live in a forest.
from the dunya. No, like from like worldly things. You know, it doesn't have to be you live in a forest. You can still
Live in a mansion.
You can still be with people, but not be like attached to material.
It's just a peace of
exact
mind
opposite
thing.
of person. What?
But you're the exact opposite of that person.
Amber, listen. You don't got a mic. You're on oxy. You look like a crackhead.
He does look like a crackhead.
She's wrapped up in a blanket. Like,
See, this is what I'm talking about.
well, I'm being honest. And besides, what about my assistant over here who's like, she does look like a crackhead?
Well, no one said anything about me about being like, high on life. So the criticism's on you.
You're high
Yeah.
on technology,
I'm high on, yeah.
which is fun.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Why?
I don't think you're high at all.
He's
I think
high on the
you're-
Twitch.
You know how some meds give you like a low? I think that's where he's at.
That's
I don't
a
know
high.
about that.
That's a high.
That's a high?
Yeah, right?
How's that a high if you're going low?
You're still faded
High,
though.
low, high.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
listen.
faded. You're mad faded. But
It's
you're not like high
we
off
know,
of life.
We know you're an expert in the, moving drugs department. We know that
Am
you're
I?
dealing all
Oh,
that. That's
okay.
fine. Okay. What I was getting at is there's some people that I know. Well, Oman was a good example of that from last week, but there's a lot of people that I know that I've met that are just like at peace, and no matter what happens in their life, they're just like, oh, we're all gonna die anyways. Like, just enjoy. Like, who cares about these little things?
That's how we all should be.
Yeah.
But that's not you.
Well, that's why I'm saying I want to be at a point where I'm just like detached. Like, what's his name? Zahir from Avatar.
All right, so be detached, right? But never stop doing the whole, roasting everybody as soon as they walk in the room.
That has nothing to do with
your
that.
charm.
That's just my personality.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying keep that personality.
Yeah.
So that, we can all kindly just, point fingers at you and blame you for all the, tears that we cry at night from your harsh words.
Is that what happens?
I was just thinking I would love to collect those tears and have bottles of like.
I'm going to send you a
That's
jar
how he
then.
gets
How about
detached.
that?
He drinks them.
Issam's tears, Shamir's tears, and I just collect tears, and it gives me power.
Oh my God.
See, you're making me this way.
Yeah, dude, you're feeling him.
Don't worry.
I was trying to go for Zahir, and you're making me into Thanos.
I'll give you a bottle of orphan tears. How about that?
I don't know if I like that.
That's an old
Just
school.
give me the
That's
orphans.
an old school YouTube.
What?
What? Is he going to adopt them?
I would adopt them.
I'm just saying that was an old school like Ray William Johnson reference. I'm kind of sad.
But on this topic of, being spiritual and all of that, I've seen this thing recently on social media by the wonderful Muslim community that is on Twitter and all of that, roasting DJ Khaled for his album cover.
Bruh.
You guys see the album cover?
Yeah.
I thought it was dope.
So he's on his knees praying, and he has his kids on his sides, right? And so right away when I saw that album cover, I was like, oh, okay, like he's about to get flamed. This is what always happens with DJ Khaled, where like he puts out something like this and suddenly Muslims are like, oh yeah, like let's comment.
Why are you promoting or like putting it on music?
But the rest of the year, it's like he's carrying Ciroc bottles and he's, got girls twerking right in front of him and whatever. And, but right then it's like, hold on, we need to set something straight here. Like, this is not how you pray. What? So.
Well, he's not praying. He's just making dua.
Right. And
I mean, he is posing a little funky different than everyone else is. But I mean,
if we want to get technical with it, right? Like, for whatever reason, that's the main thing I saw on Twitter was like, okay, yeah, what is he doing? Right? Where they were like, this is not prayer. Basically, first of all, if he is making dua, which is like, he's not in the salah, which is like, the 5 daily prayers. He's not doing that, but he's actually just making a prayer, blanket prayer. Mm-hmm. Then you can perform it in the way that he's doing it. And you can go down in sujood, which is like when you actually put your head down. That can be part of a prayer, which people do. And that's what he did in his in the motions of it when he was doing it. So technically, it's not an issue, right? But I think the disconnect is if somebody wants to acknowledge their creator, their faith, and he literally puts produced by Allah on. This is not the first time he put that on.
He did on the last one too.
He did on the last one. Just
where it
nobody
says
caught it.
executively produced by DJ Khaled, his 2 sons, and then Allah.
Yeah.
Wait, it actually said that?
Yeah, it says that on this album and it said it on the last album. But
That's
people
dope.
are criticizing on this one.
That's dope.
They're like, what? Who produced this?
Wait, so you really like it? I saw your Facebook status. You were really praising.
Well, I'm talking about the fact that, I love that he was showing that part of him. Like, first off, the whole judging, right? Like, you can't have a criteria of, oh, you're doing this, so you can't publicly talk about your spiritual side. Like, that to me is messed up. But the fact that he's showing little, I mean, from the beginning, I've always been respectable. Like, okay, so he doesn't flaunt it, but who are we to say that he has to or can't flaunt it or whatnot? But freaking one of his first albums, you see him with the Allah pendant on, and all this time in his Snapchat stories and whatnot, when he's talking about all praise to the Most High, the sun shining on me, he's got the Allah pendant on, right? And then now he's kind of putting it more forward, which also then gives a good example for, the rest of us going, hey, why are we afraid to even just a little bit put this out there?
I think it's interesting that he even will shout out Palestine at times. And
he's Palestinian.
Right, yeah. But that's very different when you're in a major mainstream
industry.
And he's the most mainstream it gets, literally.
Yeah.
Right.
And to be putting Palestine out there.
Islam, why are people afraid of him showing what he likes about Islam and stuff?
Because you know what it is? It's these publications that we have nowadays that are like, they'll post anything that's Muslim related and people get hype off of it. You know, like recently Kyrie Irving, he was talking about, this is the basketball player Kyrie Irving, he was talking about fasting. And then immediately I see everywhere, they're like, oh, brother Kyrie, like he's Muslim, like this is so exciting. I think we get too excited because we're like, oh, this is somebody who we acknowledge in the mainstream and they are going to be talking about Islam in some way.
Why isn't this acknowledged like that?
Well,
Should I wait to
celebrated
hop
like
in
that.
his DMs then?
what?
He converted to Islam, right? And he's a basketball player.
See, Amber is the problem.
Should I wait to hop in his DMs?
Please,
Yeah, Amber's
please,
following
everyone,
this.
just a reminder, Amber is on Oxy.
Why not DJ Khaled's DMs?
Because we all know what he doesn't do.
What doesn't he do?
What doesn't
What
he
doesn't he do?
Is that a fitness show?
Just kidding.
Or-
No. Y'all didn't
That
hear.
would have been better if
Yeah.
it was a fitness.
What he
show.
doesn't do is lose because all I do
Yeah.
is win.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't hear what he said he doesn't do for his girl though.
Oh, go down on her.
Amber. All right.
That's the drugs talking.
Sorry.
Amber is on Oxy, everybody. She will regret this later. Actually, she won't, but it's fine.
Back to what you were originally saying.
the Kyrie thing,
I had a
right?
reply or something.
The Kyrie thing. So, people are getting too excited. And then he didn't say whether he was Muslim or not Muslim. And people are posting it everywhere. And then eventually he said that he has been, this is after the fact that everybody already posted about it. He's saying that, yeah, I've been observing, with my brothers and sisters. People are like, oh, he's talking about the Muslim brothers and sisters. And he's like, I want to give this, a shot, basically. That's what he's saying. Kyrie is somebody who also is, explores his spirituality a lot. And, he's somebody that will be like, oh, like, is the earth flat? And go on sort of that route. So I'm not taking a shot at Kyrie in any way. I love him as a basketball player. That's why I watch him. And as a person, he's cool. He's like somebody who tries to explore, the ways in which we live our lives, right? Which is all good. But for me to be like hoping that he's Muslim so that I can have some sort of relatability to him or in some way.
Well, I don't
it's a
think that's
weird
it.
thing.
I don't think that's it though. What the big thing is when we talk about mainstream, especially, like, if somebody's Christian, if it's nothing for them to, have like the cross hanging from their neck or saying like, I thank God or praise Jesus, whatever, people just like, okay, cool. But you don't see a lot of Muslims in the mainstream doing that. Right?
We have other
So-
basketball players that are Muslim that do practice Ramadan. What?
Amber's asking for their ads.
What's his name on the Turkish guy? Not Chris, something Cantor.
Why are you
But-
entertaining?
Yeah, I don't know why there's
but
tons
what-
of,
but
there's been
basically-
tons of basketball
Right.
players in the past as well.
But what I'm saying is
Hakeem
just, at least
Olajuwon.
from what I've seen in the mainstream, like what you're saying, like hoping for certain people to be Muslim, I don't think that's what it is. I think that when it happens, it's like, okay, this is being more visible and more common. That's why there's excitement when it's seen, just to be like, oh, it's there. But as it becomes more common, that hype will start to die
Nah,
down
bro.
because it's normalized.
because Rihanna will say something and regarding like Muslims
Ramadan
or something.
Mubarak or
Yeah.
something.
And people will be like, oh my God, Rihanna, like she
Sister
acknowledged
Rihanna,
us.
mashallah.
Yeah. Which like I get the jokes
okay,
and all of that.
now I see what you're saying. Because there is
But
some
then,
where they...
but then as soon as somebody who was
Who's
working
been, yeah.
as on Rihanna's fashion show decided to put in a song from somebody else, then and Rihanna has no understanding of what it is. And it is actually, a verse from the Quran that's being put on some sort of EDM music or something. Then it's F Rihanna, she needs to
Did
apologize.
that actually happen?
Yes.
Yeah, that actually happened.
Bruh.
And it was blown up by a publication called @Muslim. So just let that sink in.
Mm.
What I'm saying is, back to DJ Khaled, right? I think that when he does something that, portrays him or he aligns himself with Islam, every now and then we are quick to comment on it. And my thing is, if you don't see DJ Khaled as an example in the first place for anything Islam related, then why does this part bother you? Where you're like, you're not listening to him anyway, you're not watching him anyways. So now you're on his Instagram and commenting, brother, it's Ramadan, what are you doing? No. What are you doing on DJ Khaled's Instagram? if that's something you're supposed to be ignoring.
Yeah, because
You get what I'm saying?
Because this ain't new.
It's not new.
Well, something maybe size wise, like on how much effort he's putting on, but it's not new as far as him showing off that he's Muslim and that's where his faith comes from.
That's what actually takes people away from the religion and much of religion in general. This is why we got Dave Chappelle, who people are like, wait, I didn't know he was Muslim, whatever. Maybe it's because he knows the repercussion of being vocal about something like this. And then having to deal with the consequences right after.
The consequences being from the Ummah, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think personally for him, he's somebody who's not perfect. So he doesn't want to taint the image of Islam, even though like he knows that. So I think he can handle the repercussions or whatnot.
That could be it too, but there's a lot of Muslims that go, oh, you're a movie star. Oh, you're a musician. Like that's haram, like immediately without anything. Right?
But Dave Chappelle's like a different beast, right?
Right.
Like
I agree with you. It could be both things, right?
Yeah.
It's just that one of them or both are true if that's the case, though. That like when you do speak about something, when you do align yourself, this goes with politics, anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you align yourself with one group of people or one sort of belief, then you will deal with the repercussions of people who expect you to be a certain way when you are of a member of that group, or the rest of the groups who are going to attack you for being that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't get why we're still like, it's been years that people are like DJ Khaled.
It's gonna happen for like the next, couple of years.
DJ Khaled is a producer. If you like him, go listen to his music. But if you don't know him personally, what do you like? There's real examples and real role models that are in your life right now. I look at my role model for being a Muslim is my mom. That's who I've known my entire life. And the way that she practices is something that I would love to be at a level of. Remember how I was saying earlier, people who are like detached? She's somebody that like, Mother's Day is coming up next week. So I'll give her a shout out. She's somebody that like, she's afraid of like spiders and thunderstorms and dogs and random things,
Yeah.
But she's not afraid of things that will happen to us in this life, meaning like losing a job, taxes being high, disease spreading everywhere or something like that. Because she's so, she has so much belief and faith in the person that God, that when she communicates with God, she's not worried about all these other worldly things, but the little things, which is funny because my dad, he's kind of like the opposite, where it's just like, all the other things can be dealt with, but what if, we were to lose the job, the house, this and that, where then she'll be like, then what? And then he'll calm down because he's like,
True.
Yeah, I guess we'll make it work. Because her whole thing is we have each other. And yeah, so that's my views on DJ Khaled's whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of having each other, I don't know if you guys seen this, but T-Pain, right? T-Pain he's a legend, right? He looks in his DMs and he sees this extra category after 2 years and he filters it and it's an Instagram message requests. And he sees all these blue check marks from people like Diplo, Viola Davis, Nickelodeon, Danny Duncan, Jamie Foxx, all these celebrities messaging him, trying to talk to him. And he's seen this after 2 years.
He didn't open up his requests, basically.
Yeah, he didn't open up his requests after 2 years.
Missed out on opportunities or conversations.
And the funny thing is, the past couple of years, I don't know if you guys noticed, but he's not like in the mainstream anymore. Like he was a legend back, when we were in middle school and everything. And so recently,
you think this is why? Like, because he's been dodging all this business accidentally. That's why
he's in the memes. Yeah. So, like recently, he's been saying like, "Oh, I've been not shafted, but like I've been blackballed by the music industry. Like, no one wants to work with me. Not like blackballed, but he's like, no one wants to work with me in the music industry."
Is it because he just didn't open up the music industry's DMs?
Yeah, it's probably that. Like mostly it's and he's been, streaming on the side and everything. Like he's been doing his own thing pretty much for like the past 5-6 years. He'll record for artists, produce for them. And people are saying like, yo, is it because you haven't checked these messages?
Yeah. I saw that he did have a social media manager or just like maybe somebody who manages emails and all that in general. And I forget what he said about that, but that is weird that like that's not a section that you open up. And it's like big people like Jamie Foxx and
Yeah. And so the also another funny thing is there was a video he made like 2 days ago and he's with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And then everyone's commenting like, yo, he's gonna hang out with everybody that he has missed
He should.
requests.
The thing is, T-Pain, he does like the Twitch streams, right? Where he like produces music live and all that.
Music, plays games, all that stuff.
T-Pain is one of those guys that are a living legend that we take for granted.
For sure.
And even when it comes to something like autotune, this man like invented it.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't literally invent it, but like he made it what it is.
Super popular.
When
No, he didn't. I wouldn't say what it is.
mainstream.
No, okay. So a lot of people are using it mainstream, right? But how he used it was, he wanted to emulate talk boxing without talk boxing.
Yeah, and
And then
thing
everyone
is,
else was just like, I want to sound like a robot.
Yeah.
well, people thought that it was easy.
Yeah. And also people
hell
thought
no.
he couldn't sing.
He couldn't sing, and
And-
he's an
Oh, hell no. He can
amazing
definitely
singer.
sing.
Yeah.
He's a really great singer. But like using that technology as a rapper, was something that was brand new at the time, and we didn't really get it. But then, and we were like wondering like what is this effect, whatever. And then, Lil Wayne started really doing it, and that's what, then everybody was doing it at that point.
And then all that. Yeah.
And then, think about everybody who it's just,
Now you have to have it.
even if you don't think it's on, it's like Drake's songs.
Yeah. Most of them are
Most of them are auto-tuned, but it's just like
subtle.
tweaked a lot more. So
I mean, that goes for like any singer, non-hip hop too. Like freaking Chester C from Linkin Park used auto-tune.
yeah.
You know.
But the thing with T-Pain is like, besides the auto-tune thing, just as a producer, he's amazing. As an entertainer,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Even as a person, like you can tell, especially like if you watch his streams or something, like he's with his wife, like he's very lovable about people around him. And he just felt like he was in his own bubble the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's getting all these messages like, yo, let's work, let's meet up. And he's just in his own bubble, like working on his own stuff. And it's kind of funny, but sad and seeing like this happen.
Watch
That would
him
be
start
crazy.
blowing up. Like everyone's like, oh, so he's not being an asshole. He just didn't know how to open my message.
Have you ever missed an opportunity in the DMs, like conversation or anything?
I mean, I'm pretty good about that stuff. But that would be sad, like seeing, a big person and you miss the DM, like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to like, shrug it off or something. If someone texts me, sometimes I like see it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to reply to this later. And sometimes I'll forget what.
Oh, we know. Look at Amber pointing. Shamir is just great with
she's
that.
saying that he
But
does.
I'm a yes guy. Everything pretty much mostly says means yes. Like
So-
if I don't reply, it means yes.
So let me ask y'all this: if DJ Khaled had, sent you an offer in the DM and you didn't see it for 2 years, how would you react once you finally saw it?
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, I contact him immediately.
Well, DJ
No,
Khaled.
no. You forgot. Like it's been 2 years since he originally sent it. You
Yeah.
haven't seen it till now. What's your reaction?
I'll comment. Contact him immediately.
Well, there was a guest that I was in contact with for the podcast, and he wasn't big at the time. And then just a year later, he's followed by Drake, and he's huge, and he's on ESPN and everything. And I tried to message him back and be like, "Are we still good for the podcast?" And yeah, no reply because it's too late.
Damn, that's messed up.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't like I was waiting on him to also.
Yeah, it's not like him waiting on you.
He was gonna come. He was gonna come here. He lives in Virginia. He was gonna come here when we were still doing it at Amber's place, and I think it was just like there wasn't enough reply time or whatever, and then it was just like he blew up, and then it's like
He got carried away. He forgot.
There's other
he
guests
forgot
that we've
about
had
us.
blow up after the podcast, which
Yeah,
we
for
were
sure.
lucky to have on before, and
sure.
people who are currently big who we've had on. So
Yeah.
it's no biggie. It happens.
Yeah, I think seeing the beauty in this whole situation is like even someone as big and legendary as T-Pain, they still have like funny instances like
Yeah.
this that are so like with other big celebrities.
And I'm sure that happens to other people.
Yeah, for sure.
that don't know it yet, or they're like, message request. Oh, let me go check that now. And then they probably have like other people in there. That'd be crazy. That I always think about that, like as a celebrity, the social media interaction, how that works, because like there's so much to filter through. And then say it's somebody who.
Well, that's why he was ignoring them, because he would get messages like random requests from people like, "Hey, T-Pain, can I buy you a drink?" or something.
But
like,
I think probably that's funny. I think if you're verified, you must be put in some other category
And
where like, the
that's-
verified stuff goes.
he
at
didn't
the
know
top.
about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the second category. So he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna ignore these message requests," because he was getting them from random people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "All right, let me check the popular one."
On the note of technology, sometimes when it comes to us trying to be proactive and inclusive, it leads in this weird direction where I saw this article recently where it says a multi-skin toned handshake emoji is coming in 2022. So now think about the handshake emoji, right? Literally two hands shaking.
Two hands shaking.
But you know how we have all the skin colors
Yeah.
for all the other hands?
Yeah, we have like 6, I think.
Yeah. We don't have the handshake as a skin tone.
What do you mean? Like
Like
2 different
it's
hands?
still yellow. Yeah, 2 different hands. Because I think the thinking was like you could only have the same tone
Oh, for both.
for both.
So it's like the same.
So it's like, white person shaking, white person hand,
hand.
black person, black person.
Okay.
So it was going to be a weird thing if you tried to make it within that. But they're changing that where now it's going to have every color of,
Any color variation.
yeah. Could you plug this in? The laptop just died. Yeah, they're going to have every variation of the different skin tones.
Yeah. So you got like white person shaking a black person, tan person shaking a white person's hand, etc.
There's literally 25 versions.
Okay.
And this just annoys me
Why?
so much. I mean, look at it. You're gonna click on the hand emoji and you're gonna have all these options.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
I mean, I personally don't care, but there's a lot of people that do care about emojis, right? Like people wanted their representation in emojis.
But how far
It's-
does it, like, okay, if I'm somebody who has a robot arm.
Yeah. There's a robot arm emoji.
No. But I want to shake hands
Yeah.
with a brown guy.
Mhm.
But I have
Or like some green person from Star Wars.
Well, how often is
well,
that
no,
gonna
like
happen?
not that.
I
'cause
want green hands.
I'm talking about people that really exist, right? Or I'm somebody who has 6 fingers. Where's
Yeah.
my emoji? Yeah, like how far does this go?
Yeah.
I think that we should just like, why did we go away from the yellow emojis? Yellow was fine.
Well, we still have the basic emojis. They don't have the skin tones, right? Only the humanistic people emojis have the skin tones because people wanted to be represented. They asked for this and they wanted it.
It's just,
And if you have 6 fingers, maybe you ask and maybe you get it done.
I think already in the climate where everything is about race, all this like inclusivity, it doesn't do anything to bring people together. It just makes the people who are already trying to get, the sort of things added on to have that feature. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're somebody who is racist,
Mm-hmm.
like, does this?
Anger me?
No. I mean, like, does this make me think differently? I know it's not for them,
Yeah.
but like, what's the?
I think it's for the non-racist to feel better about themselves. Like
It's whack.
They
Can we
wanted
just say
it.
it's whack? Like, it's whack.
Okay, so you want no skin tones on any of the humanist characters.
It's
like,
so much work. Like, do you know how many emojis we have? It's already
Yeah, we have
so
a
many,
bunch. And we're gonna have a bunch more.
and we're gonna keep. I'm saying, what is the limit to make everybody feel included? I get it. Like at one point, I was like, "Yo, like, where's the hijabi?
Yeah.
Like, where's the Muslim emojis?" But then I was like,
But once you saw it, you're like, this is not good.
No, it's not that. I'm just like, we should just be like creatures, like some sort of, how like in video games you could just be like whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
what's that, World of Warcraft or like any of those sort of games that like
Avatars and stuff.
you're just a random thing. Like, I'm fine with that because this is just annoying. And what? I don't know what you're saying. You're on Oxy.
When you click on the emoji, you see the skin color.
Yeah, I know that.
But you could still have the yellow emote.
But
character.
I think he's getting at the point of like, if he wants to use that emoji, it's going to ask him, hey, which one out of
Which one?
150 do you want to use?
Well, you could still use the basic one. Or what do you use for your emojis right now? Do you use your skin color or do you use the regular yellow one?
So I use mine when I'm like just on my personal page. But if
Yeah.
I'm on like doing something for, another page,
So you're using it.
then I'm using the yellow one. Well, because it's just like, no, it's just there. It's just there. But
yeah.
it's not that I care about like the,
Yeah, you're like, if it's there, I'll use it. But you're
if
not
it's
like,
there, it's cool because it's me.
but you're not like, oh, my actual skin tone is not being represented. Like, I want my
or just
skin
anything
tone.
about like, usually I don't have like my hairstyle in a different avatar or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But like, I'm just wondering what the limit is that we go to include everybody.
But I also think it becomes used more when it's more specific and niche.
Okay.
Like, like the hijabi. Now hijabis, I'm sure, are using their hijabi emoji like all the time now.
Yeah, but what if they're like, oh, that's not the way I wear my hijab? You know how there's like
Yeah.
different hijab styles? That's what I'm saying. Because there's so many like, and the hair options just like they're not good.
Yeah, so you're saying it's going to be opening up a can of worms because then every small little thing with a bunch of different variations is going to be a million emojis by the end of all this.
Yo, we used to have a colon and a parenthesis as our emojis.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
Like we've already surpassed that.
Dot parenthesis.
As soon as emojis
and then it evolved, right? Using an equal sign instead
you know what
of the
Hassan
symbol
was?
and whatnot,
You know what
right?
Hassan was?
What was he?
XD.
XD.
You know the XD?
Were you?
Or he was the X, and Amber's the XP.
He's trying to say I was Eric Cartman.
with the tongue out.
The tongue.
Yeah, the oxy.
Yeah,
the
I
oxy
am,
emoji.
dude.
Damn.
Yeah, I am. Used all of those.
AIM was good. Yeah, I just like basically everywhere you turn now, I think there's people that are mad about already existing like
Are people mad about this? I mean, you
well,
are.
Well, on Twitter I saw
You
that
guys
people
know
are like
it.
really annoyed about it. It's just like I just don't think it's smart. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't care like people
It's
use
worse for them. Like people are gonna request.
It's
like,
worse
a bunch
for us. I think we get spoiled and then we just keep wanting more and more. Like, I don't think it's going to stop.
Mm.
I see even on TikTok, like right now, the climate is that when somebody makes a joke that's a good joke about a race,
Yeah.
right? Like or a culture, then the comments rather being like, yo, this is funny, or like adding on to the joke, it's as a blank person. So say it's like about a Native American, okay? As a Native American, I find this funny. As a Native American, I find this funny. And then other people saying like, oh, it's so wholesome that the Native Americans are finding this funny. I'm like, we don't have to do this. We can just find the joke
Find it funny.
fun. Like in stand-up comedy, like growing up when we would watch it,
Yeah.
that's all the jokes that would be. You know, this guy's Mexican, this guy's Chinese, this guy's black. I'm just gonna like make fun of
Yeah.
the different, like I know that there's a thing with stereotypes, and at the end of the day, the joke should be funny. And if the person who's in the audience is laughing along, we don't have to acknowledge like,
Yeah.
oh, as a Muslim Pakistani, I find this funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? And basically like everything that is just so, we're trying to make it inclusive and less about race and see each other as equal, but we're just
Dividing ourselves up.
dividing ourselves.
Well, also when you get to that, right? Like, oh, I'm colorblind. Like we should be able to pinpoint the differences out of appreciation, right?
So colorblind, there's people that are like, oh, I'm colorblind.
Fuck them
I'm
boys.
with like, let's celebrate each other's differences
Mhm.
and laugh at each other's
Yeah.
differences.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking before about like how I roast people or I, praise them in that way.
Mhm.
That's my way of showing love, basically, is like everything that's different about you, that's different about you, that's different about her, about me. Like, let's throw it all on the table because
Absolutely.
that's what brings us together. Like it's fun and it's like it's not weird. The environment, the climate that we've created. Maybe I'm just going on like a weird boomer rant or something.
No, I mean, no. I get you there because
Amber's like, yes.
But no, I get you there. Like I remember it being indifferent, whether it's like through gaming or at work, I'd make like anywhere from Asian jokes to Muslim jokes or Asian Muslim jokes. Like,
Yeah.
As long as the joke is good.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then people be uncomfortable. I don't want to say stuff around me. I'm like, I'm cracking the jokes here.
Yeah.
Like it should
throw
be
some at
funny.
me.
If it's funny,
Yeah.
I know that like there's some comedians that are like, there's no limits for them when it comes to what they'll make a joke about as long as
it's
the
good.
joke is funny.
Yeah.
Meaning like the writing is good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's about creativity. If you're somebody who, walks up to a brown person on the street and is like, haha, you work at 7-Eleven. Like that's a very, very, very old joke, not funny, not creative,
Yeah.
repetitive. So that's like, if you're offended by that, then okay, like
Yeah.
I'm offended that it's a bad joke.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
There's also like a saying, people are saying like comedy's dying. And because of that, I think comedy is now, pushing out all the bad jokes and like all the good jokes are being pushed higher. Like the standard is much higher.
Now it is?
Now it is.
You think it's going back to that or?
Like a lot of the messed up jokes that don't age well or something, like, those are happening. But I feel like
as you get more like culturally knowledgeable about different things, some of those bad jokes are really like, because in your mind you're like, okay, that really doesn't make sense. I don't find that funny. Not because you're offended, but just it doesn't make sense as a joke.
Yeah. And as the comedian, they didn't do their research. It was just like, oh, the blanket stereotype.
Yeah.
But now I think comedy is becoming way more strategic and smarter. And I think, comedians are also scared of being canceled.
Yeah.
But I think the cancellation is not how, racist the joke is. It's how good and creative the joke is to get that laugh.
Yeah. All in all, it seems like this is something that repeats in history where like we'll have this wave of like everything's going super liberal and then people get fed up and then things go very conservative. And I heard this quote, I think Alman actually said it, where he was like, how liberal do we get until we get conservative again? Meaning like, with things like this, these emojis and whatever, making people, it's like, in some ways, if you're somebody that the popular liberal agenda doesn't agree with, then you are not welcome at the table. And so now you're discriminating.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing that you were fighting for.
Yep.
So it's like this does not relate to the whole emoji thing. I know it's a very soft and like minor thing, but it just makes me think of like where we're headed and what that kind of opens up in general.
Well, we had a big wave of like, everyone's becoming polarized. It's like you're either left or you're right. Like me, I've always been accused of one side of being the other. And I'm sitting here going, no, that's not it. I agree with you on something. Like, no, because you disagree with me one thing, I'm, blackballing you on everything. But now there's like a sudden wave where people are starting to wake up and go, okay, let's not be so polarized. Now more people are finding themselves in the middle and not so extreme. And people are starting to really wake up both, like when it comes to media, simple stuff like, if you're offended by jokes or if even politics too. Like it's kind of crazy how it's going up and down in that aspect too.
If you consume media and generally just anything that that influences you to become an independent thinker, that's probably good for you. So even like on this podcast, I don't want to tell you how to think or what to think. I want to tell you how I think, and I want to talk to my co-hosts and ask you guys who are the listeners of what you think so that we can have conversations and we can outweigh, pros and cons.
And if you disagree with this, please like email.
It's better.
It's
actually.
better. Yeah. So we can talk
get perspective.
about it. Like, yo, no, you suck.
But most people are, I think that, some people are with the sheep mentality where they're just like, I just want to belong. But then there are people who are misguided. And I think a lot of people these days are misguided where they think that they have to fall under a certain agenda. Yeah. And that's what like a disconnect happens with a lot of people with Gen Z where, they kind of grew up having to learn about all these things and pick a side basically when they don't even, necessarily know all of their viewpoints yet. And I'm not saying just Gen Z. I think Gen Z is really smart. I think kids under them too.
Well, what you said, right? I think they're the same type of people that actually, they won't form their own opinions. They just hear from somebody else and go, oh, they're saying it, so I'm going to do that without even thinking about it.
Well,
and
that's it, again, like that's ignorance and not arrogance, right? Where they don't necessarily.
I think that is arrogance because you're not taking your own you're not questioning it yourself and believing that yourself. You're just.
Well, if you've always been taught something and the media you consume, the people that are supposed to tell you the truth are literal leaders, bro. Like people who are running our country. If they're a certain way, aren't those supposed to be the people that you're supposed to look up to? Like that's how it should be, right? But it's not.
I mean, now I'd say you shouldn't look up to those people. But then again, that's because of
that's a result of. Be careful of what you consume, and you should follow people who tell you like, don't listen to me. This is what I think, and I'm gonna have people.
Right.
I'm gonna have conversations that make you think and think for yourself. Anyways, let's get off this. I wish Amber was here for this next one, but this was one of those bizarre stories that I found. It said my wife inherited $800,000. She put $300,000 towards our mortgage and $500,000 in her own bank account after 35 years of marriage. This dude's problem is that they've been married for 35 years. She just inherited $800,000. Okay. And then she said that, she'll put $300,000 towards the house. The house is $450,000. So she's only putting $300K, But then the rest she's putting in her personal bank account. So $500,000 in her personal bank account. And he said that I'm 65 and still work. By the way, this article is on Market Watch. He said, I'm 65 and still work. I earn $130,000 a year and plan to continue to work for another 5 years as long as I'm good in health. My wife retired 2 years ago at age 59, working for 13 years, and basically saying she raised the kids and this and that. He's upset because he said, we have no savings, no 401k, nothing. I paid for my kids' college education. We own one car outright. I have credit card debt of nearly $80,000. My wife has credit card debt of $2,800. And then he said, I've been working since I was 16.
So basically his problem is that he's been paying for everything like while he's working. And then finally she gets a huge sum of money.
Almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million.
So this could take care of everything.
Yeah, but she keeps it for...
She's keeping 500.
Wait, well, has he been paying it for everything though?
He said college. She's been working?
She was making $20,000 a year. He was making $130,000, and she was at home helping raise 2 children who are now adults and have their own jobs. But basically, the issue is that he's been paying and providing, and then we have this large sum of money. We supposedly have a large sum of money now, but she's saving $500,000.
So let me give you some context on that, because this sounds similar to my parents, right?
Okay.
So sure, he's covering like a lot of these bills and whatnot, but just because those are covered doesn't mean he's managing his money right. Like he's making $130,000 a year. He's $80,000 in debt. That tells me poor financial habits. How much you're making really is irrelevant at the point. But he cannot be managing finances right. So the wife is like, okay, I don't trust him with all this money, so I'm going to put the rest of this in my personal account so he can't, run it into the ground. Because my parents were the same way. My dad lost like a lot of money growing up. And my mom, the reason
from
like
mismanagement.
Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he'd do poor investments. Poor.
Whoa.
Poor. POOR. That's what I said. He would make
Can we play that back?
bad financial decisions.
Show the recap.
Right. He'd make bad financial decisions and actually lose money. And it was my mom's like strict management of everything that we've been able to pay, continue to pay the mortgage of the house, pay bills and everything. Like he would just hand off thousands of dollars to people like, oh, the stock market, here, take it. And then he'd lose it. And then he'd do it again and again.
Okay.
And again.
So that's a speculation.
Mhm.
What would you, okay, Shami, you're in this situation.
I'm in this situation? Oh, no. I was like, what?
He's like, wait, am I? No, I'm saying if you were in this situation, right?
Yeah.
You've been covering a bunch of, bills and, you're trying to make things work and you're basically on the edge. You have some money in debt. You're going to have to work basically the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And then your wife is like, yo, Shimmer, I got $1 million. And you're like, thank God. And she's like, well, I'm going to put some towards the house, but then the rest I'm saving for myself.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
I mean, I'm like, why? Like, we have all this, debt, everything. Like,
So you're mad too. You're salty.
I'd be mad, but Isan brings a great point. Like, I feel like this dude's mad sketch.
Okay,
like,
so, I mean,
If
think
I was
about-
mad sketch, I'd be like, all right. But I read the article. Isn't he like thinking about divorce?
Well, he said, what did he say about divorce?
I think at the end or something.
My wife gets a small pension and I will also get a pension. We also have, wait.
But I think he was talking about that. And I was
If
like,
we divorce, will I have to pay her alimony?
oh.
What does that mean exactly?
Isn't that where she asks for a certain amount? Isan, do you know?
Sorry,
Alimony?
say that again.
Alimony. At the divorce, she asks for a certain amount to keep her good.
Mhm.
So
So
he's
he's-
asking, would I have to pay that if we do get a divorce? So that's why I feel like this
Yeah,
dude is
you're right.
sketch.
The amount that he'd owe, like after the divorce. The sketchiest part is this article. Somebody, like he wrote this article and they have this miscommunication in general.
Yeah.
Meaning like they are in a situation where he has to resort to writing an article about his marriage
Yeah.
because of what he's going through.
Also, like, I feel like, the communication part, if the communication was good, right, there obviously would be some good balance of money and, there'd be a purpose of why she's keeping it in her bank account.
This makes me think also like this is a conversation you need to have like early on.
Like
in
oh,
the
if you get
marriage.
$1 million,
Well, no, just in general, like how we're going to use our money,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because Also, at the end of the day, she has the right to do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing he can do about that. He's just salty, so he's writing this article, but the article isn't going to do anything for him either.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, when she is married and she's thinking like, you know, say the case is that he is mismanaging his money and she's using it in a certain way where she's like, you know what, like, I'm going to still do my thing and I'm going to make it work and whatever. And then you can't take into account, you can never take into account, what if we get this much money?
Mhm.
That's never going to be a case where you're just like, what if we just hit the jackpot?
Yeah.
But that's what divides people. You know, you hear these stories of people who win the lottery, and then most of them end up really in horrible situations because
Yeah.
they, Amber, what? Can you speak into the mic then?
Yes.
What?
Can somebody just explain to me what she's saving $500,000 for?
I think for security after like retirement.
You don't
and
need
stuff.
$500,000 worth of security.
It doesn't, no.
How much do you need?
I mean, I would say like you would have more security investing it into places than having actual.
And they have no investments.
If you invest it, then you have the likelihood of you being able to have that security is a lot greater than just having cash money.
And I think that's what she's going to
Amber,
do.
Oxy is not cheap,
Yeah.
all right? You need the 500K.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's what she's going to do because this man has no 401k. He has no pension. Obviously, he has not saved
Yeah,
money.
I just didn't like how it said that it was $500,000 in her personal savings. Like, what are you personally saving?
I like
$500,000
her.
for?
I'm with her because I don't like this man's energy,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, that's-
Like, my wife got all this money and she's not using it to take me out of debt. Shut up.
Plus, what if that's not really, you know, I guess kind of like what you were saying, Amber, is like that probably already is being invested in stuff. He just doesn't know about
well,
it. So he's getting salty.
She already paid off
about-
a huge liability.
Right. So he should be thankful in that sense. But,
Yeah.
but apparently that's not enough.
Also, we only know his perspective. What if
Yeah.
she's like,
She's like, oh
he's,
yeah, I'm trying to buy Gucci.
he's a horrible human being.
yeah.
I only stayed married to him because of our kids. Like, again, this is more speculating, but the point is we hear his perspective here. And this money came out of nowhere. What were you doing before that?
Yeah.
You need to get it together.
Yeah.
So let me flip this on you. What if like she's already planning for a divorce?
Ooh,
And then
I like
and then that way she's
Actually,
gonna
I
be
don't
like, you can't come at me because I paid off more than half of what we owe on the mortgage. So
if this is like toxic, if she's a toxic person,
I think
like
he's
Gone
the
Girl
toxic
type,
one.
yeah.
you know the Gone Girl lady who
I
like,
haven't seen that movie, but
oh, you need to watch it, bro.
yeah, I heard it's good.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
It's a good movie. Yeah, she was a psychopath. What if, like, if she's this way, she was waiting for that inheritance, like she knew it was going to kick in at some point, and then she's like, "What now?"
But she paid so
I
much
got
for the
800.
house. I don't believe that. Like if it was
Yeah,
like,
but just enough that there's still it doesn't pay it off.
yeah, that's funny though.
That's hilarious.
Like
She's-
100.
I
She's
mean,
like, oh, you pay off the
it
rest.
sounds like a, you know, like a trap card to have in your pocket, you know, at the divorce. Be like, oh yeah, you want to see what I contributed? Bam, you can't have nothing to this because can't have my money.
I'm gonna go back to, I think the biggest issue here is the communication. If
Yeah.
if you've been married for 35 years, wait, was it 35 or 25?
35.
35 years. And this is the situation where like you don't know what's gonna happen.
That's scary.
That's really scary. Like you haven't known this person, basically. If you thought like that they would do something else in the situation, that's a you problem. That's a both of you
Also,
problem.
why is this dude like putting his family on blast and like telling people this?
I feel
Because
like
he's salty. He's so salty,
but how did this
bro.
like he's going to the media? It's like, hey, I have a story. You
Nah.
know, I hate this happened, and then now everybody knows that your wife is, you know, loaded. Imagine what problems can happen from there.
low key, I feel like this is a Reddit post
And like,
because there's
totally
a
made
question
up.
at the end. No, not totally made up. I think he's actually asking for advice because why would he go to a news article? Maybe he did go to a news article, but I feel like this is a Reddit post.
He
You know,
wrote
it's
to
funny if it
someone.
was he wrote to someone.
It's like by Quentin. It says Dear Quentin. So it's like a business
okay.
page. And I guess it's one of those things where like, okay, send me your business stories.
Okay, that
And then he's wondering like what
for
he should do.
financial advice.
that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a funny situation.
Mhm.
People, communicate with your spouse or
Please.
significant other in general. All right, let's end on this final note. I wanted to ask you guys, I feel like the more we grow up, and especially we know too many people, like when it comes to being on social media, but then also having like real life friends. You know how you just like, there's more and more people you know, Like
Mhm.
before the internet, you know,
Like the people around you.
around you, if anything, like you travel, then you'll like keep in contact with them. But
Yeah.
there's not a ton of people, you know. Now we know way too many people.
Yeah,
Right?
like you know so many people at different degrees. Like, oh, you just know of their name, or like you said hi once, or goes all the way up to like you've known them your whole life.
And it's easier to travel, so more people can come together and meet up. But basically, I was thinking about this. I was hanging out with like a group of friends this past weekend, and it used to be like 5 of us or something, 5 or 6 of us, and like we'd do stuff together, right? Birthdays, different events, whatever. Then like people have friends that they make, and then people have boyfriends and girlfriends, and people get married. And then like we were in Philadelphia this past weekend, and we're rolling like 15 people deep. And I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, this is too much, right?
You guys need a breakup.
We need to, yeah, we need to,
Yeah.
there should be like a friendship breakup.
Yeah.
That's not a thing, but we need to split up. Like, hey
Wait,
guys,
why?
we're not good for each other.
Why is
at
that
this
the
point.
problem though?
Why is it a problem? Because, okay, listen, if you're hanging out and you're doing like, you're in a city, you're like exploring, you're doing the same things, right? When you're trying to do something, go to dinner, for example, trying to reserve for this many people, especially in a pandemic. But then also like we're all walking together to a location, and then, okay, now we need to take an Uber. Oh, we got to call 4 Ubers. And like just the overall organization of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
He's basically saying keep your circle tight. Keep your circle small, right?
Make friends, but maybe like the whole hangout situation.
So go out in small groups.
Go out well, how do you manage that? What's too many? What's the line? What's too many people to hang out with at the same time?
When it's like the Ubers. I think that's
Isn't it annoying?
I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, okay, so Amber's saying in our friend group we get vans, but that's still
8, 9.
yeah,
max.
but we have to get like a big van.
Yeah, but Uber XL doesn't have those giant vans all the time.
And also just like when you're doing activities,
Yeah.
like you sign up for something, you're going to a place to do whatever, some sort of excursion. There's a cap on those things too. Groups of X amount.
Maybe that's it.
What?
Like that's the cap, like of how many people you can go out with.
Well, so in Miami, our cap was 7.
Yeah.
And we were gonna have more people on that trip. It was
Yeah.
gonna be like almost 10, I think.
Yeah.
So then like what happens in that situation? Oh, like you guys gotta find a different excursion, take the next shift.
Yeah.
But it's just inconvenient.
It depends where you go to.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
If you have to split up the group, I feel like that's where it's like, okay, maybe we had too many people. Like Ubers is a good example. Like, oh, we have to take 4 different Ubers, 5 different Ubers. Maybe like the group
It
should
also
have been smaller.
takes a long time.
Yeah, because you have to like, oh, did they get here? Do they know where location?
Just
Yeah.
just get a
coordinate.
bus. Just get like a old school bus and
But now you
Roll
move
up.
slower too.
Yeah, you move slower.
It's like those games where like, you know how you could have like if it's a racing game, for example, you could have like a little bike or something like Mario Kart. You're like in a smaller cart, but then you could be like Bowser with like the big one. And you're slower. You might be more powerful, but you're slower. You're just moving slower. You're getting less done.
you're saying you don't like obtuse people? Is that what you're saying for us?
Hassan,
he doesn't like obtuse
it's not
groups.
a weight issue. It's a quantity issue.
I know.
Maybe this is not an issue. I just noticed it. I was like, because when we travel and stuff, like sometimes we start to think like, oh, should there be a cutoff? Like, is this too many people? We all gotta.
But there was a situation, our friend's bachelor party, where I felt like it was amazing that we had so many people and we all had like our own little groups and we would go in different places. I don't know.
So we did split up,
Yeah.
right? Because there was that thing where it's like people wanted to do different things. We just stayed at the same place,
Yeah.
so that was fine.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get everybody on the same
Do
page,
the same thing, eat at the same restaurant.
the synchronization is gonna be off.
Yeah.
It's too much, and also like people don't have the same taste and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Even like on that when we were in Philly, like,
Yeah. How'd you guys decide on food and stuff?
well, some of us were fasting, some of us
Oh
only
my-
eat halal,
Oh.
some of us are vegetarian.
Oh,
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like so much to manage.
yeah, that's where it's hard. Food up.
I think
Amber has to say what? Okay,
Oh.
at what point is like 10 people, like 12, 15 people, like sinking?
Say you have 15 people, right?
Yeah.
And there's like, there's 5 people that go here and there, whatever. But then you have like 10 people with strong opinions. Somebody might be getting upset.
Oh,
this and
you're saying the
that,
group dynamic.
whatever. Yeah, then that's too much. But if you have like 10, 15 people who are like,
Yeah.
I'm down for it, just down for whatever, and whatever
Yeah.
happened, and they're not like putting too many expectations on it. If you have that group dynamic, I feel like it works. But if you have too many strong personalities and all that stuff, I think that's when it gets too messy.
Dang, maybe it's you. A strong personality.
I just realized
No, I'm
that this is also like a privilege.
Oh,
where,
for sure.
Where people are probably listening to this and be like,
You have too many
15 friends? Give me one.
Give me one. Yeah, if you don't have friends, I'm sorry. Maybe skip this part of this.
No. I'm jealous.
Oh, like you want less friends. Well,
I mean, like
you
it's
want the
easier
circle
to
tighter.
manage.
Yeah.
It's easier to manage when you have the same friend. Because also having different groups of friends,
Bro, that's hard.
one, that's hard to put on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Location,
Yeah. Okay.
money.
Yeah. Here's an issue I've been having recently. I've quite a few friend groups, right? And all of them have not traveled or done anything during pandemic.
Mhm.
And now that everything's opening up, they're like, hey, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
to Cali. And all different friend groups. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll think about it. They're like, oh, you're flaking. I'm like, no, it's just like, it's just so many trips. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know?
It gets a lot to manage.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like at some point, I'm going to back to the detachment thing. I'm gonna be like, guys, I don't associate anymore. We're done.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. Thank you for associating with us. If you want to be friends, I'm sorry. I've reached the cap.
So I reached the cap.
But no, we can be friends. Anyways, thank you everybody for listening to another episode of Strange Flavors. It's been another week.
Another flavor.
It's on.
A little less stranger.
You got it.
Let's go.
We'll talk to you next time.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride.